Hello there. We have a show tonight. We have the show. Shadow Cabinet 4 dropped today, and we invited a couple folk to the house. Let's go. Man, looky here. The Black Comic Lords done assembled the Justice League.
Yeah.
I genuinely got a smile on my face right now. It's not often that we get to assemble this amount of talent in one shot. This is kind of freaking huge. I'm excited. Joe, welcome back to your show, Shadow Factor, episode 4. And you decided
Thank you very much.
To get more people to the house today.
Yes. So, we got to list it off. So, of course, we'll start with the reason why we are all here. First founder, Dennis Cowan, who graced us with A covers and the Alva history flashback sequence in Shadow Cabinet 3. I mean, we could just go on and on, but it starts with, we're going to start it with Hardware because, come on, Hardware #1 is one of the best superhero comics ever produced. And then we'll talk about guys like Batman and The Question and Power Man and Iron Fist and things like that. But begins and ends with Hardware and Static and Icon and the Milestone crew.
These are all the characters he's created in his career.
Listen. This is what we're talking about. So we start there. Then we're gonna move over to Mr. Darryl Banks. At the very least, Darryl co-created a Green Lantern. Kyle Rayner co-created Parallax, which another Green Lantern became. Been in the business for 30 years. Did one of the most iconic covers in comics with Hal Jordan gone bad with all the rings from Green Lanterns that he took down. That's just iconic. And Darryl was one of the 2 main artists on the series. Adagun Ilhan, who could not be here tonight, is with us in spirit. And then we have to talk about the color wizard, Chris Sotomayor, who brought everyone together and merged all the styles with his palette. Chris and I go back to the first Milestone. I'm not gonna list all of Chris's credits. Chris is a colorist and a teacher and a trailblazer, a man who fought for colorist recognition, a man who's been teaching at Comics Experience, and he's done all the characters for all the companies. And so having him with Team Shadow Cabinet was great, and he and I getting the jam was great. And then we're going to top it off with the final member who decided to give us some of his time after he worked in Gotham City and got to do that amazing Jace Fox and Signal story, Mr. Ray Anthony Height. Founder of Studio Sky Tiger, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Moon Girl, and Devil Dinosaur. He and I first really started jamming when I was a senior editor on the Catalyst Prime line for Lion Forge, and he was a main artist on a book called Superb, which is still very near and dear to my heart. I still miss my babies. So that's what we got. That's That's what we got here for you. We got Team Shadow Cabinet up in the house.
It is a pleasure to have each and every one of you. Thank you for sharing your time with us tonight. So let's jump back in a recap as to where we left off with Shadow Cabinet number 3. We had a revelation from Dharma that if Rocket gets too involved, the end game for her is death. Curtis has been captured by Alva Industries, Angela Alva. And we find out her brother Edwin Alva, first of all, is her brother, and he is back with Q Juice, super powered. He's been juicing, literally juicing.
Literally.
It's the ultimate juice. Rocket's been amped up with a new suit she got from Curtis. Static has been inspired by a great speech he had with his mom about becoming a superhero again. And Icon and Alva have gotten into it. Does that summarize it pretty well?
That's pretty good.
Right.
Things are sounding really bad for our heroes.
Nothing good is happening right now.
Nothing.
And Dharma's looking over everything like, man, this is really messed up. I don't even know how this is all going to turn out, but I can tell you it's not going to be too good. I mean, it's looking pretty grim for the good guys. So we have let's start with the covers. Good God. Now, Mr. Cowan.
What a cover.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw you a few weeks ago at an original art expo in Orlando, Florida.
Yes, sir.
And I scrolled through your original art that you had there, and I managed to see this particular picture on the left in its raw, unadulterated form. Not adulterated, I shouldn't say that, but its raw, original form. I immediately pulled out my wallet, then I saw the price, and I was like, my wife would divorce me if I
put your wallet right back.
I put my wallet back. I just tucked my chain back in.
Looking around slowly.
And just I might have drew. Fortunately, it was in plastic. I might have let out a little drool.
He just backed away, looked all guilty, just kind of melted into the crowd. I never noticed a thing.
I might have contemplated, maybe I could just, swap this out, or just, I mean, it was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful moment. This is a classic thing. I hope DC Comics, if you're ever watching, hint, hint, Marquise Draper, that you release this as a poster for the fans, because this is a beautiful work of art.
You're so kind. The story behind that, the truth of that cover is that it's that post would be dope. Yes, thank you. Yeah. The truth behind that cover is that it was a group shot that was called for. I'm like, oh my God, I'm terrible at group shots. Why do they have me do a group shot? What am I going to do? But then I remembered that John Buscema did a similar kind of shot to this in the Avengers. It was like some Avengers thing. I remember seeing that as a kid. So I kind of like, that's kind of based on what John Buscema did. If you looked it up, you could find it. It's definitely an homage. I'll say that. I didn't do it quite as well, but it was a lot of fun, and it's a lot more like a dare I say it, like a Marvel cover than a DC cover.
Yeah.
Because it's like, just we're coming at you.
You summarized the entire, new season of Milestone Universe, this season 1, season 2 that we have going on now, in one picture. Just briefly, how does it feel for you looking back at your creation 30 years later, seeing these characters, seeing the reaction that longtime fans have had, seeing Milestone come back and the reaction to that?
That's a complicated question. The big quick answer is that it's been great, immensely gratifying, seeing people welcome the return of these characters after so long. And you know, the reality is what you're getting is you're getting people who read these comics when they were, you know, 10, 9 years old. Now they're parents and they're seeing these characters again. And they're like, man, now I can get all the characters, I can get all the books I ever wanted. You know, now they're 30, 35, 40, and they're fans all over again. You know, they want to see the new material. They want to turn younger fans on to the new material. So it's good. It's good to see.
Shout out to Nicholas Draper Ivy, who provided us the other cover.
Mm-hmm.
Ivy was greatly responsible for revamping what we now know as the modern version of Static.
Oh well, Mr. Draper Ivy is just a great artist.
Mm-hmm.
What a tremendous asset he's been to us. Yeah. I think he's just fantastic.
So, you know, Joe, you released a picture on your social media recently. Oh, before we get to that, I can't have the GOAT Dennis Cowan on the show and not point out something we talked about when we interviewed him a few months ago. The fact that you can't go around calling yourself a GOAT until you can do an homage picture of your own previous work. When someone says, I am going to hire you to homage yourself.
That's insane, right? Or they just ran out of ideas. And this is what Joe came up with. I don't know. I'll take either one. In retrospect, see, you shouldn't ask me about these things because I look at it, I'm like, you know what? I should have made her figure a lot more like, you know, Sanction's figure. How did I get that so wrong? I should have pulled in closer.
No.
What was I thinking? You know?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
He's a completely different build, different character. And God knows it's separated by, 40 years or whatever. But, yeah, I got to homage myself or rip myself off.
Yeah, this was one of those things where, like, Marquise is in the audience, so got to shout him. This was a thing where, we were just talking about, hey, he said, hey, do you have any ideas for issue 3 cover? And I was like, okay, let me throw something at you. Like, tell me what you think. And I said it. And his email, the response was 3 words. He was like, that's a choice. and then he said, okay. And then he just went away. And then, like, I think a week and a half later, he sent me the pencils. And I was like, here we go. Right. And it's funny. This is actually one of my favorite pages, probably one of my 5 favorite pages from the original Milestone line. And I actually own the original color page that Noel Giddings did of this.
Really?
I have to ask you, Joe, why is this one of your favorite pages?
First off, I love Sanction, but secondly, it's like, you look at that and like, how in the hell is the hero getting out of this? It's such a moment of real peril. I feel like we watch a lot of things and the peril is not believable, right? You're like, oh, that person's getting out of this. Like, they'll get out of it in 10 pages. But I remember reading Hardware 25 and being like, dude's not getting out of this. And for people who read Hardware 25, like Dwayne put a very interesting spin on this whole thing, right? And basically how this was the trial for Sanction, was the trial of Curtis's life. And for Angela, it was kind of like the trial of the world, because the world did her an injustice, and her key to getting justice is Hardware. So I just really love the echoes of it, but to be able to homage that, to be able to ask for that, and you did it, was great. And so many people online just said, that's a great cover.
Oh, that's so nice of them. Well,
like you see it and you want to know the story.
Right.
Sanction, I mean, back when we did it in the 90s, Sanction was based on a real guy that I knew, that I used to hang out with. Yes. He did not He was made up from somebody I knew actually who had an eye patch, the whole thing, everything.
Wow.
He was like the real deal. He was like
That-
that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a story for another time, because this
Yeah.
is really, the Daryl Banks and Ray Anthony Hyde and Joe Illidge and Chris Sotomayor show. So, enough about me.
All right. Well, in speaking about bring the art back up, Dr. Wizard. And speaking of
So you go right back to me. See, that's okay. There you go. That's good. There you go. Look at that.
Joe posted this on his social media. If this image wasn't enough to get you to either buy the book or tune into this show tonight, I don't know what would. This is incredible art.
Thank you.
It's so great.
Me and Chris.
Yep.
Let me tell you.
I'm following your lead.
Daryl Banks, every time I see your artwork, I shake my head and I get angry because I ask myself, why is it I can't see this man's art every month on an ongoing series? It vexes me. I need you to do more stuff.
I have some ideas.
Good.
With the gentleman on the screen, as a matter of fact. So
That's what I'm talking about.
Awesome.
Chris, your coloring is, you know how back in the day when you watched old movies and it says colored with
no,
Technicolor.
Technicolor. That
Or
was
like
a big
Panavision
thing,
or something.
right? Like it was a big thing. Oh my God, we went from black and white to Technicolor. Look at the colors. When you're watching the original Wizard of Oz and it goes from black and white and all of a sudden you see colors. That's the effect that Chris Sotomayor's coloring does to a comic book. It's so cinematic. And it's little subtle things like the shading. If I love looking at the fact that he takes into account where the light's coming from, where the shading should be.
he understands form.
Bro,
I always appreciate.
There's a shadow of Icon's hand on his chest.
That's right.
Who thinks of doing stuff like that?
Listen, like I said, I'm following Daryl's lead. I'm following Ray's lead. Whoever I'm working with, I'm glad to be along for the ride. And it's easy when the artwork looks this good to begin with. When I'm working with talents like Daryl, Ray, Dennis, whoever, this roster right here is amazing as it is.
You don't follow my
I'm glad
lead.
to be
You
here.
always do your own thing. What are you talking about? I'm like, I didn't think him anything like this, but oh well.
Chris is so modest.
I'm gonna tell it like Dennis. Like, look at
Like what lead?
brow. Look at Icon's brow. Do you see the highlight on the
colors?
The
I was about to, yes.
Do you
That
see
highlight
that?
wasn't in the black and white.
Yeah,
That's not
that was our
Thank
lead.
you, Daryl.
That's
That's
our
what I'm
lead right
saying.
there. That's
Yeah.
our
Well, you know what part of it is?
Yeah.
Part of it is the best colorists are artists.
That's it.
Yes.
Chris
The
is
best colorists are artists because they know the art principles.
Thank God.
Chris is an artist. So
absolutely.
when you're talking about light-
nose.
yeah, exactly, right? Because that's one of the things that you know that the parts of the face that protrude out the furthest are the ones that light hits first.
Right.
Yep.
And it's not
So right,
blue light.
and that
Alva.
and that panel we'll get to later, I imagine. That panel involves an extraordinary light source.
Yeah.
which you can see in the highlight.
That's right. That's right. So it's just like, it's funny that you said the Wizard of Oz thing, because I guess that's how it was every time Chris would just send us pages. And Chris is like a ninja. He won't be like, because we had big group chains where everyone was there. Chris isn't the guy that would say, hey, I'm going to be sending some stuff tomorrow. Just like you open your inbox and there's 10 pages.
It's there.
Yep.
And no matter what I'm doing, I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing anything now for a half hour. I'm just looking at these pages.
Milestone, back the original Milestone, was famous for inventing that 100 coloring process.
Yes, sir.
Watercolor, shout out to Noel C. Giddings,
Yes.
who was a master at it. It changed comics for me because prior to that, I had never seen a myriad of Black people in different colors, Black and brown people in different shades. You didn't see that. All we saw was brown number 5 or
right.
3.
Yeah.
Before that, Milestone changed the game, and now it's standard and normal. If you're a good artist, to make those variations in people of colors, hues, and tones. And it's like I think what was it? Marquis said the new 100 color process. Like this is Milestone 3.0 coloring artistry at this point. Shout out to you, Chris. This is fantastic.
Alumni. Okay, I'll show you one more cool thing. You want to see? Look at this.
Please.
Wait, look at this.
What you got? Make him big.
Oh,
wait, what?
What?
Wait, what am I looking at?
Wait.
No.
That's it.
Oh,
No, you don't.
oh,
Hold on. All right.
What?
Okay.
oh,
No,
if you tell me
Oh man.
Don't do
that
this
is a Todd
Dennis,
I
McFarlane
need
prototype,
No,
wait.
please tell me.
Dennis, is that custom?
Wow. I'm with Sexual Chocolate. What the hell?
Oh man.
If
Of course
that
he's
is
got
a-
one.
Come on.
Oh man.
Wow, listen.
and he
Listen.
does everything. I just keep knocking him over, but he stands. He's like great.
Oh my God. How cool is that?
All
Yeah,
right,
somebody.
it
It's
shows-
a prototype
shows
that somebody made for me and sent to me.
Oh,
I've always had it standing
Wow.
in my studio, but I never thought to put it next to this new icon that I have.
So
I
that's a
didn't know-
custom make?
Yes, a custom made. Someone made it.
Oh,
Oh, it's a custom. Okay. I almost-
oh man. That's
everybody.
Listen.
Oh,
I can't take this. I want that to
Do you
be
know the
real.
name of the guy who made it?
Wait,
Because,
Paul,
he's about to get
Paul,
a-
you gonna pay for that cover or you gonna pay for that hardware? Which one?
Look at this.
That's a good
Oh my
question Ray
God.
just asked. That's a good question.
That's
Oh
a-
my God. Yeah, Dennis, I gotta have that.
I love the boosters on his back.
I know
The
the detail on the
boosters.
boosters. Oh man.
Yo, that's
insane.
awesome. That's
All right.
awesome.
Enough for hijacking this show. Go back to.
Okay.
I see now. I forgot what we were talking about.
Exactly.
Toy collector.
That's the flex of the night, though. That's the
Yeah,
flex of the
that's a
night.
flex.
You know, I'm a toy guy,
Bunch
so
of
I-
kids. You're like, ooh, an action figure. Oh my god.
The rest of you guys are gonna have to step your game up
McFarlane's got to
that
make
flex.
art.
I'm just telling you.
Yes.
He can do it.
50
He totally
Yeah,
can do
he
that.
can do it.
Yeah.
He can do that.
Come on, Top Father. You need to get on that, bro.
Seriously.
You really need a rocket, you need a static, and you need a hardware.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. And then if you maybe throw in a Holocaust so you can have the one villain.
You know, you need
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I need that
Just
Tech
do
9.
everybody. Just do everybody. Hold
Tech 9, yes.
Yeah,
Tech
I need
9
that
with the
Tech
guns, like just make
Do
it
brick.
plastic weapons.
You guys, all right. This is what I was worried about with you guys is waiting you all in.
I saw
This is
Toy
why we don't
War.
do these mega shows because it's
You-
like
Oh,
It's
All
your show, you got to control us.
this is
Yeah.
your show, Joe. I'm just controlling.
Oh,
the buttons
it's
and-
team show.
But it
All right. So
Wait,
Dr. Wizard, bring back
wait.
our image. Okay, so where we left off. So let's get into the book.
Mm.
Jumping into the book, we have this image of hardware on steroids. What the hell am I looking at, Joe?
So you're looking at what Hardware told Icon he would do to him in Icon versus Hardware.
Yeah.
When he was like, I can kill you. Right? This Hardware Omega was designed by Curtis to kill Icon.
I love
Right?
Icon Buster.
modifying original protocols from Project Icon Killer to adjust for higher threat
Listen.
level.
Listen, we talked about the fact that this dude is 5 steps ahead, right? If the flying alien who can shoot beams out of his eyes and tear apart mountains goes haywire, hardware Omega,
Yeah, but
right?
adjust for higher threat level.
Well, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with like Edwin Alva is now like this quantum being.
Systems weren't even at 100%.
So yeah, it's the
It was
Yeah.
at like 60 for Icon.
exactly. You don't need 100 for Icon.
Wow. All right. So speaking of Edwin Alva, he's given the business to my man Icon.
Yeah.
It's very rare in comics that we've ever seen Icon actually have to go toe to toe with someone.
Yeah.
And have we ever seen Icon bleed? I can't remember the last time
I definitely don't think in Milestone 2.0, I don't think we've seen him bleed.
Yeah, it's the first time in Milestone 2.0 we've seen him bleed.
Yeah.
I don't even think the worlds collide when he fought Superman that he
100%. He did not even bleed when he fought
Yeah.
Superman. That's right.
Nah.
You know, and listen, that was Daryl. I didn't write that in the script. Like Daryl put that in, and when you see it, it's like, yeah, of course. And the thing is, you know, you got to communicate stakes. And that's a visual communicator of the stakes, right? And I want you to think about this because there will always be the person that will ask the question, right? You know, well, why didn't Alva just kill him up in his satellite, right?
Right.
And it's because no one would see it there.
Mm.
When a narcissist beats you, they don't want it to be in private. They want people to see them beat you. That's why he says you die here among the people who mistakenly believed in you. I want them to see you destroyed for them to understand that when this is over, they are to bow down to me.
Was it in your script that Icon have this bloody face?
No, that's Daryl.
Damn, Daryl.
I did not write that in the script.
I thought it was. Maybe it just seemed
No,
like
dude, that's you.
that was.
I did not.
Sorry about
I did
that.
not write that.
This image, like, I mean, I'm Icon. I mean, I'm Milestone 1.0 original OG. This shook me. Like, Icon's face is bloody. Like, what the?
Yeah.
But I love
There
his
is-
eyes and the resolve. It's a cross between, oh snap, I'm in some mess right now, and I got to elevate my game. You see that all in his face at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. All right,
Yeah.
coming to the rescue.
So cool.
We saw that Rocket got a new set of threads. from
How you like
it? Now, for those who may not be aware, Rocket isn't superpowered per se. She has a belt given to her by Icon, which I guess the best way to explain it was Milestone had the absorbing vibranium properties that you saw in the Black Panther movie first, but just 30 years before.
Right.
And that belt would allow her to absorb kinetic energy and redirect it, fly, make blasts, make shields, etc. What Curtis has done, being the super genius he's done, is he has analyzed that belt and made her, I guess, an entire suit, Joe?
100%.
That has those properties. So explain more what her suit is and what it can do.
So her suit is made of nanotech, right? So nanotech is microscopic technology that takes materials from like the air and surroundings or whatever, and it creates constructs, and it always remakes, right? So her suit is self-healing, and to your point, nanotechnology, like any machine, can be programmed, right? So if you program each piece of nanotech with a code for inertia field absorption, then that means the suit has that property, right? So he came up with the idea, but it was perfected by the duo, right, of Kelly and David from Duo, because they're the world's foremost experts on nanotechnology. And from Curtis's perspective, I can conceive it and I can make it this good, but they can make it this good, right? And he wanted her to have the best possible thing.
Just as an aside, you know, one of the things, Dennis, when we interviewed you, we talked about when you and Dwayne McDuffie were working on Icon, and you see Curtis go through his forge, which gives him that black shell over his body, and like, how was he able to manifest these rocket boosters out of nowhere? And we talked about the concept of it being nanotechnology before that was considered a thing. So for all intents and purposes, Milestone is one of the first comics to really sort of embrace that concept of nanotechnology.
See,
I don't recall anybody doing that before.
Nope.
I've been reading comics a long time, guys. Gray hairs aren't for show.
No.
I don't recall anyone having that in comics before Milestone. Just
at the core of it, you know, with all those fantastic ideas, that was Dwayne and Christopher Priest.
Yeah.
Who doesn't really get enough credit for all the stuff that he did at the beginning, but it was Christopher Priest and Dwayne. I was in the room, Davis was in the room, and Derek Dingle, we were in the room. And I'd occasionally pipe up with something that they would just stare at me at. But Priest, Jim Owsley at the time, and Dwayne were the ones that came up. So that whole nanotechnology, all that stuff, that stuff was in the DNA of what we did from the very beginning. And right. I think those guys are the ones that did it. How they came up with that, I don't know. You know, Dwayne was always ahead of his time when it came to all that kind of stuff. So they just, you know, great storylines, great story ideas.
As I constantly say in reference to Milestone originators, goats, each and every one of them. Yeah,
well, they were prolific genius dudes, you know.
I was referring to you. I'm referring to you too as well, but that's all.
No,
be humble.
We're not talking about
it. All right, so she drops this line, right?
Yeah.
Been a while, Augustus. We're on a battlefield. He's like, Raquel, no. We're on the battlefield. Don't call me by my government name. It's Rocket and Icon, not Icon and Rocket. It's Rocket and Icon. You better recognize who's the new superhero, who's sidekick. I am not your sidekick.
All right, so I'll tell you the story behind that. Here's behind the scenes. When I originally wrote it, it was so it's Rocket.
Right.
And it was Marquise who said, what if we make it so it's Rocket and Icon? And it was just like, yep. It was like, yeah.
The only thing that would have made this page even better is if Icon was actually, the font was smaller than Rocket.
Come on now. He's Icon. Don't be that way. He's Icon.
Look at the expression Daryl has on Icon's face. Like, what? He's like, what?
Like, what? Rocket, Icon.
Rocket.
Yeah, but that's real, right? That's what it's so funny. Like they're fighting for their lives, but it's a real moment. But also, you know, this is the moment. If you haven't figured it out yet, this is the moment that says, like you said, like I was a sidekick the last time you saw me. That was a lifetime ago.
Right.
Right. I come back as a leader. And he doesn't question it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because number one, he's been watching Earth, but number two, he always knew who she was. And if we go back to Icon and Rocket season 1, Reggie did a flashback where Augustus is to the 1920s, where Augustus is talking to, you know, the love of his life at the time, and she inspires him to be more engaged with the world. And basically, Raquel Irvin reminds him of her.
Right.
That's the fiber that Raquel Irvin has. So when this happens, it's like there's also a part of him inside that is like, yeah, like this moment was going to come one day. It comes today.
And the one storyline that's been consistent since Icon's very beginning, very first issue, is that although the original book was called Icon, it was always about Raquel.
100%.
Raquel was the story.
100%.
She was the narrator of everything. It was
Yes,
always taken from her perspective. And what we saw in season 1 was Icon grooming her to be the hero for Earth. It's her journey from where she was as a teenager breaking into his house to where she is now, a few years later, where she has stepped into the role and become a full-fledged Earth superhero supreme, and you know, for all intents and purposes, his equal in that respect as a hero.
Yes.
So this is a big moment because this is her finally declaring, "I'm grown up. I'm a full-fledged superhero at this point, and I'm here for it." This was a dope moment.
Yeah.
I got to interject something real quick. Yeah, when I look at this panel, especially the color version, when I did it in black and white, and you see her fist, there's highlights on 3 of the 4 main fingers.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm thinking, should I leave a note? Because I didn't want the same highlight on all the fingers because it would flatten it out. But Soto I'm looking at it like, I didn't even tell him to do that. That's exactly how I saw it in my head. I'm like, this guy, you know, I'm like, yeah, I don't take any of that for granted. I'm sitting there looking like, wow, what I saw in my head, it's like, that's exactly what I wanted. And I didn't even have to tell him. He just,
the colors, the shading, that even has a shadow from her hair on her forehead. I mean, Soto, you a whole nother level, dude.
Oh man.
Real.
And the bounce light from the inertia suit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He doesn't miss the details. He doesn't miss the details.
Yep.
All right. So then, you know, she goes, go. It's go time. In your head, Joe, what is the difference in her abilities with the suit versus just having the belt?
You know, I mean, to me, that it's like it's the difference in volume, right? So the belt is something that can easily be ripped off somebody, right? When it's the whole suit, it's a different equation, and something that, you know, we really wanted to imply in Shadow Cabinet 1, where you're introduced to Curtis as part of the operation. You know, Curtis is an engineer, and he's an inventor. You know, one of the core principles of invention is innovation. Very few inventors create the first one, but a lot of engineers innovate off of a design. So when he brought Rocket in part because he's an engineer and he has ego, and in part because he wants to kind of diss Icon and be like, yeah, that's cute. but why don't we upgrade that, right? So he was always thinking about how to innovate beyond what she had before.
Right.
So the fact that it's the entire suit now is a metaphorical representation of the maximization of her agency as a human, as a hero. It's not just one small part. It's the whole thing now. No one can take the whole suit off of you.
Right. It even says here it's at 300% capacity. Like, she can store a lot more kinetic energy and just dole it out a lot more, it seems.
100%.
That's kind of cool.
Yep.
All right. So here's some pages from Aragon Ilhan, one of Milestone's initiative graduates, alumni.
A baller.
So good.
So
Yep.
dynamic.
Yep.
He jumps in, Icon jumps in because Rocket's getting knocked out. And, you know, this is dope. This is a lot of action.
Oh yeah.
Look, you had 30 pages in this book. It's a little longer than the normal book, but we talked about in the last episode, Joe, how you're mindful of trying to get as much of the story on these pages as possible. Look at the panels, trying to increase panel count, but not take away from the story or the storytelling with visually. And this layout is indicative of you doing that. It's fluid. You're telling stories in each one of these. One of the things I try to do with this slideshow I'm showing everybody is I'm taking smaller panels and blowing them up so you can see the level of detail these brothers put into this work.
Adigan never backed off on, and stuff was never busy. You could always read his work in spite of all the detail he was putting in there.
100%. He really knows how to design a page, and you know, when I write the scripts, it is panel by panel. I may throw out an idea, but the execution is all these guys. The only time I was really intentional is when we did issue 3 because we were doing an homage to Watchmen.
Right.
And we were like, not, you know, and so we were like, let's do the grids. But otherwise, it's like, you know, this is Adigan's dynamic storytelling sense, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, seeing Adigan's work, it's got a very rhythmic, organic flow to his story.
Yes.
It does.
Organic is a great word to describe it.
With composition and with the figures.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
If you're watching us, you're getting compliments from some of the best guys in the business. Your future is indeed bright, sir. Whose artwork is this?
Some guy.
All right.
That's
Some-
the Banks.
Yeah.
Some guy. Look at Jesus. As I said, I look at Daryl Banks' artwork and it just vexes me because I keep asking myself, why can't I get this on a monthly basis? This artwork is fantastic.
So you're saying you'd like to see me draw Icon again? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, I'd see you draw anything. I could care less what it is. Your artwork is fantastic, man. But yeah, I would like to see you draw Icon again. Look at this expression on Rocket's face. She's genuinely surprised. And why is she surprised? Because of who shows up.
The big reveal. Oh.
Yeah.
I am not embarrassed to tell all of you that I literally said, hell yeah, when I saw this page.
And I'm drawing that blaring 90s music. I mean, I'm really making sure I'm there, you know. And it was,
Superhero static shock. I mean, the whole thing.
Yep.
The whole ball of wax.
Yep.
My man has graduated from flying around on garbage can lids to riding the friggin' lightning.
He's in the middle now. I mean,
he's standing on lightning.
Standing on business, standing on lightning.
Yep.
Yes.
Come on, man.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Look at the angle of this. He's looking down. You know, he's showing his power. He's got the lightning swirling around
divinity.
him.
It's like implied divinity. And again, let's look at this color here. I mean, we've got.
Oh my God.
Really, I mean, from the background,
the confidence on his face. Look at his eyes. The intensity in his eyes. He even got the detail of that. The lightning on his face. You guys were all working as a team on this. This page is so damn dope, man. Oh God.
Listen, this is the page that I was waiting to get to ever since I typed Shadow Cabinet page 1, panel 1. I was waiting to get to this page, right? And even when I wrote it in the script, I was like, this is the shot that's got to last for 20, 30 years. This is going to be the definitive shot. And when he says the line, we're done here. We're done here. And the thing is, and this is something I explained to somebody else, so you'll hear it again. He's saying it to Alva, but he's also saying it to himself.
And where did he get the line? From his mom in the last.
Got it from his mama.
From his last issue. Shock the world, baby. I was like, what? That's foreshadowing. That's coming back. That's coming back. And it did come back. Shout out to my man Randy Watson, aka Sexual Chocolate. Points out,
yes,
this is indeed a key issue. Static rides lightning. He's never done that before. He's always had a disc.
Is that true? Right, because he had a disc, right?
Yes.
Cover.
Yeah.
When Nicholas Draper Ivey did his last run, the Shadow thing, he created a disc for him to fly.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was retractable, right? It was retractable.
Yes.
Retractable.
Yeah, like an accordion or something.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys made him write lightning. This is a key. This is a milestone key.
Okay, listen. So let's just be clear. We do understand, just in case there's any doubt whatsoever, Static is the most powerful superhuman on the planet, on any planet. and here's a little science for you. This energy that he manifests, it looks like lightning and it acts like lightning, but it's actually quantum energy. Right? And if I go back to a conversation I had with Dwayne back in the day, like back in the 90s, the way he explained the Bang Babies, right? He basically said all human beings are on a horizontal line, but every time you come across a Bang Baby, they dip. Because they operate at the quantum subatomic level. Every Bang Baby is a dip in the quantum line of existence. Right? So this dude, he's that dude. Just so we're clear.
As Nigel G says, he is him.
He's him.
He is him.
All right. Static's on the scene. And then, this is a cool one-panel explanation as to where Edwin Alva's head is at. I created a Q juice that empowered you at the Big Bang. You chose to be in the league with the alien whose antics led to Brainiac to this world, my world. Right? This is where his head's at. He feels he is owed. He is entitled. He created superhumans on this earth, and he feels that he should be the god of them all. The interesting thing about quantum juice, because we didn't really know exactly how it worked until we had this re-release of Milestone, and the concept that the Q juice basically makes you manifest powers based on what's going on in your head, how you see yourself. If you thought you were dying, you died at the Big Bang. If you thought, oh my gosh, this is fire, I need to turn into water, you become Aqua Maria. If you think, boy, I've got inner power, you become Static. And the manifestation of what Edwin Alva is like his view of who he is. He's this super godlike energy force of tendrils. He's a puppeteer, right?
Yep. And just so we're clear, hold on a minute. Just so we're clear, the only time that I remember it being explained otherwise, in Icon number 20, Icon and Static are having a discussion, and Static says, hardware once told me how Q-Juice worked. And he basically said, like, whatever you thought at the moment, that's what happened. And so if you thought you were going to die, you died. And if you didn't, then you were one of these. And to your point, because Alva is a narcissist, and for narcissists, there is no end. They're what they want has no end. What they crave has no end. So for Alva, his mutation just continues because for him, there is no end.
Is it fair to say that Black Lightning is on the same level? Look, the way Robert Washington III and Dwayne McDuffie wrote Static, and the science behind it and how Virgil would find new and creative ways to use his powers? No.
That's right. That is the 100% correct answer. That is the 100% correct answer.
All respect to my boy Richard Wright, the biggest Black Lightning fan on the planet.
Listen,
I'm sorry, bro. Static more powerful.
Static is more powerful than Black, and we love Jefferson here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we love Jefferson and we love his girls, but Static is more powerful.
Definitely.
It's not even close.
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about here?
So we have these big reveals. You just had this big reveal. Rocket comes in with a new suit. Static comes on the scene. He's riding lightning. My boys and girls in the Blood Syndicate were bottled up in some tubes at Alva Industries, but they're back. Paris Island belongs to the Syndicate. And let me just say, my favorite Blood Syndicate member was always Tech 9. When he died so early in the series, I was kind of royally pissed because I was like, they're not really going to kill my man, right? Like, they're going to bring him back, right? This is comics. He never came back. Not really. I love the fact you guys brought him back. This was dope. This was the second scene that I cursed some expletive. I can't say because we're on YouTube. Blood Syndicate is something back, and I was happy when I saw this. Very dramatic. I heard the music in my head when I saw this scene, and you had the coldest line in comics. You're just another wannabe gangster who needs to get got. Syndicate, shut this fool down.
Dude, this is street. This is street talk. This guy's been in the military, but you know what? That's what. Okay, let's keep it real. Those people whom have power, who exploit really special people, really powerful people, people that can really change humanity for the better. They're just gangsters.
Yeah.
They're just gangsters.
Bro, you brought Brooklyn into Milestone. So
dude.
Joe, when I read that line, I was like, I grew up with this dude.
Exactly. We all grew up with a dude
exactly.
Like that,
we all know that guy.
We all know this guy. Yeah, that was a dope scene. Thank you, Joe Illidge, as a Blood Syndicate fan who have missed them tremendously. I needed this. So thank you for that.
Another wannabe case who needs to
get got.
It was so cold.
That was a cold ass line, dude. Cold ass line. So then we find out how they got back. So apparently Angela Alva has what's her name again?
Transit
in her employ and brings them back, who refers to them as trash, which is kind of interesting. But they have some plans within plans within plans. On top of all of this being a finale issue for the Shadow Cabinet, you've established these Chris Claremont like threads that have to be dealt with, Joe. You keep foreshadowing these bigger plots, and it's like there's another issue, right? Because like I need to know what's gonna happen with that, and I was a little pissed off about that. So moving on. All right. So one of the things we talked about on this channel is the importance and symbolism behind a superhero having a cape.
Yes.
Right? Kevin Grievous, when he did Blue Marvel for Marvel, gave him a cape. Subsequent creators took the cape away, and fans were pissed because the cape has meaning. It's a symbol. It's a badge of honor. It's a title. If you're a superhero and you have a cape, that means something. Icon, the late, great, one of my favorite artists of all time, M.D. Bright, when he drew Icon, he made that cape its own character.
Yep.
It did things you just did not see. Right? It was 30 feet wide and 10 feet tall at any given time. It it was incredible the way he drew the folds of that cape. It was a big part of the character. It was like Icon's sidekick was his cape.
Yeah.
So Alva knocks him down and does the greatest disrespect. He tears off Icon's cape and puts it on himself. So disrespectful.
Yes.
I knew that at this moment, Edwin Alva must die.
Oh, he's toast.
Yep.
No, you did.
Yep.
He might as well have, just, I don't know, urinated on or something. This is disrespectful. This is disrespectful. Shout out to you, Joe, for evoking such a vitriol reaction from me from seeing this moment. That's
just the way it looks, right? Like, I mean, oh man, you're actually hearing, right? Like the thing rip.
Yeah.
Right. And someone who considers themselves like the emperor of the world, takes it, right?
Yeah. So who comes to take it back?
Yep.
Shadow Cabinet.
Yep.
You established, this is another Chris Claremont moment. You have this history between Iron Butterfly and Wise Son. Fulfill your destiny, Wise Son. Destiny. Wait, Wise Son has destiny? What's this about, Joe?
Okay. So Jeffrey Thorne had established when they first met.
Yeah.
Right. And she doesn't kill him.
Right.
Right. Now again, let's think about Dharma and Dharma seeing, different times and whatnot. Iron Butterfly needed to pull Wise Son out of the battle with Sanction because otherwise Sanction would have caught him. But by pulling him out, she saves him for this moment. Because you've got this guy with unlimited power, but he cannot beat an unbreakable man.
Right.
We needed the unbreakable man to slow him down. So his destiny is here at this moment to slow down the monster.
This is like Milestone's Luke Cage.
Yes.
But with more attitude.
Yes.
What happens when an unmovable force meets an immovable object or whatever? What is that phrase?
Irresistible force and irresistible force and unmovable object, I think.
This irresistible force and an immovable object meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, monster. I'm the one you can't shoot, stab, burn, or drown. You dealing with the unstoppable man now. This was dope. This was dope.
Yeah.
I like you. It's interesting. They had the Anansi static Anansi one shot written by Evan Narciss, art by Charles Stewart III. Anansi's powers are like really a lot deeper than what you saw in the static cartoon.
Yeah.
He's actually in many respects a alterer of reality. Like he can for reality. The fact that he's wielding his powers on Alva and it's still not stopping him, speaks volumes as to just how powerful Alva is at this point. So
yeah,
that's interesting. But then you introduce a new player in more ways than one.
Yes,
Mr. Hype.
Yes, yes.
I gotta give credit. My team. My team is me, and my team. Studio Sky Tiger worked on the page. We're privileged. This is as Joe and Dennis know. This is a bucket list. This is a dream come true for me, just to work on these characters.
Let me jump by the fact that this is Technique. Tiffany, I cannot say Tiffany Evans or Technique without "Don't Sweat the Technique." But
exactly.
It just that's
when I was designing that helmet, that's the song was in my head.
That's the theme song, right?
Eric being rocked.
When we did the character, when I designed the character in Dwayne, I came up with Technique That's exactly the song.
Oh, see,
Okay, I figured.
man,
Right? Because
Love
that was what, like 1990, 1991-ish?
Yeah.
yeah.
That was the tagline for her debut, right?
Came out. That's when Ghost Technique came out.
Right.
I just
As an
remember
aside,
drawing her and thinking about that song the whole time. Every time I drew her, I just remember thinking about that.
that tracks.
Yeah.
That absolutely tracks.
And
As an aside, at some point, I think Milestone collectively should come together and put together a Spotify playlist of Milestone
Oh
inspired.
yes, that'd be dope.
Oh, that's wild. I actually had a soundtrack for the first issue, kind of like, but I didn't share it. When I was writing the first issue, I definitely had like songs in my head. I had a soundtrack.
You
you
need to go ahead and make a playlist, man.
Do it.
All
Weren't
right.
Lost Boys in an episode, in an issue of what was it?
Static.
Yeah,
It was Static 40 that had the Lost Boys.
right.
The first hip hop variant cover of all time.
That's right. That's right.
Milestone always with the first. Always with the first.
Yep.
To this day. So Ray Anthony Height, I'm looking past the first picture. I see the box that of what Curtis delivered to her. Obviously, it's this rig so that he can tie in and be the guy in the chair.
Yes.
For Rocket, which is cool.
Yeah.
I'm loving the helmet, but in that second panel, the second panel at the bottom there, that looks like an animation cell from some high-end animation. You're laughing, but I'm dead ass. Like that, I'm looking at that, and that looks like something out of an animated film.
Yep.
You know what? I again, because Chris and okay. He knows what I'm about to say. So we have been dying to work together for a minute, and we've had spots. Yeah. But you want to talk about somebody who gets exactly what you do?
That's Chris.
This cat gets exactly what I do, right? And then made it work with everything else. It's insane.
I have a piece of paper that you're looking at this image, but there's glowing objects coming off of the paper. I don't know how you did that, Chris, but it's actually light. Like if I turned off the lights, I would swear the lights on her helmet would still be glowing.
Yep.
So good.
I've done my job.
Yep.
You guys threw your whole legs into this, man.
This man is the glue. Chris is the glue that brought it all together. The glue.
I was very fortunate to be paired up with so much great talent on this book.
This is why I like to blow these little panels up so people can see the detail, and it's not taken for granted. Like what you guys packed into this only 30 pages. What you packed in was really significant, and really definitely deserves recognition.
Well, Paul, did you see the gloves? So I wanted to do the entire suit, but I was like, they didn't ask me to do that. So
yeah, because right. I know. See, that's the thing. Like, I think what we tried to do is give people what they want, what they're looking for. Like, I know you're jonesing to see Tiffany getting the armor, but let's do it in a different way, right? Because it's like she's not going to get there in time, right? But she can be remote. And come on, when you're home, it's like when you're on Zoom where you're in your pajama pants. Like no one can see her.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So she's like, I'm gonna put on the helmet and the gloves, but I'm still gonna be wearing my comfy sweater and my sweatpants and my slippers, right?
Yep.
And chill.
So she's helping to save the world from her living room.
This is crazy. You guys you put a lot of heart into this. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going up against the big bad. Rocket's getting the assist from her gal in the chair. And Mama's got a brand new bag because she's got this suit that Curtis made with the nanotechnology, trademark Milestone 1.0. And she says, in fact, and this is where we see the growth. This is what I love about this scene. We see the growth of Rockets as a superhero. She's been training with Icon for years at this point. She's had all these missions. She's been with all the most brilliant people in the world, worked with Curtis. She just got this suit. She knows the suit's made out of nanotechnology, and out of her own head, she says, you know what? I'm going to use the nanotechnology and infect Alva with it so I can, attack him. Talk about that, Joe, the thought process behind that.
Yeah, I really think it comes down to what you said, which is, the thing about like human relationships, or one of the things about, is osmosis, right? Like you are affected by the people that you are in orbit with the closest. And, it's funny, Daryl and I have spoken about how we loved working together on the very first Raquel Curtis scene in Shadow Cabinet 1, right? Where you're seeing this tension, but you're also seeing kind of like respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And so he rubbed off on her, and it was like she was always paying attention.
Yeah.
Right. She was always paying attention. And, that moment in Shadow Cabinet 3, where she basically tells him, like, you have 15 minutes to tell me how to use this. So just get down to the basics, the raw basics, because I got to get out of here and die saving the world or whatever, right? So it's like raw basics, right? Nanotechnology, it breaks up, it recombines, and she can give it an order to disassemble.
Right.
That
was a cool moment. I like that, shows her progression, and that was a cool moment.
Yeah. I'm going to be back in 1 minute. Okay, we'll talk about this, and I'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay. All right. So flashback gets her scene. We've got the narration from Rocket. She's still thinking she's about to die, to Joe's point. She's doing all this for this. She's throwing it all in. There's nothing holding back. She knows she's going to die. She's going to make it count. And Omega Hardware comes to the rescue.
Man. That was one of my favorite things that I've drawn.
Why is it one of your favorite things that you draw?
I got to draw Hardware, Rocket, and Static. And it's not just any hardware, okay? It's
Omega.
Hardware Omega.
Right? It's F around and find out hardware. Right. So, right. And I went full, if anybody can notice, just to show how powerful and kind of playful Static was, I went Aang, because he's riding an electric ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's a ball. Okay.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, nice.
Damn.
And Joe, do you remember what you said to me about the scene that you gave me? You were like, this is full Akira Tetsuo, like.
That's what I thought.
And I was like,
100%.
You gave it to the right person.
100%. At the beginning of the script, I think I said, rewatch the Akira battle and the Avengers Endgame battle to get yourself in the mood for this.
And you're throwing a little avatar just to boot. That's
yep.
I just want to answer this one question here. We got Eclectic Blurred Nerd says, Joe, does Edwin Alva have enough flesh remaining to be infected by the nanites, or can these nanites affect pure energy as well as physical material?
He has enough flesh because remember, he has nanotech in his body too.
True.
And that's why you keep chopping off an arm, it builds back. You punch him so hard in the face that his entire mouth goes 90 degrees to the side of his face, and it comes back.
It comes right back.
So basically, this is literally a war between two nanotech bodies, right?
I think he's been officially renamed from Omega Hardware to F around and find out hardware.
Listen, I'm with that. So when the Todd father makes this figure, that's what's on the box.
Yes.
Yes.
FAFO hardware.
FAFO hardware.
Oh, I saw that the homie Sanford Green is in the house.
Sanford Green's in the house.
Sanford Green. Oh no. Oh
showing
no.
you love, Ray, on your art. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna be right back in 1 minute.
All right. All right.
Bathroom break. All right.
Rocket. Everybody going on bathroom break. Everyone's going on bathroom break. This is how you know when men of a certain age.
Yeah.
Let me not talk because I might have to go in a few minutes myself. All right. So I love the expression on Rocket's face here. That's wow. You know,
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But I was curious. This is a Joe question, which is why is Rocket on this death knell thing where she's still hanging on? You know, hardware is trying to get rid of Alva, take him out into space and get rid of him. And she's holding on to him. And the question is why? Is it necessary? The other
why she's still holding on to him?
Yeah, why is she still holding on to him?
Okay, so there's two reasons, right? So here's what we'll call just like the science battle reason, right? Like she's the person with the nanotech that's gotta infect his body, right? Because otherwise he's gonna blow up. She's the delivery mechanism for the nanotech. Right? Now, keep in mind, Hardware Omega just came out of nowhere. She has no idea what the hell the capabilities are of that. But she knows she has to stay connected to him. So that's number one. So here's the emotional reason. So Rocket has been fighting the fact that her death was inevitable ever since Shadow Cabinet 2. And she's finally resigned herself to it, right? She's like, I don't get to see another sunrise, and I'm good with that. She's not fighting it anymore. She's like, I'm good with that, right? Hardware Omega comes out of nowhere and is just taking them up. Emotionally, she hasn't pivoted that fast. She's like, where the hell did you come from? And damn it, I accepted the fact that I was going to die. Right? He just ripped her out of that. So that's why when he's like, let her go, she's like, shut up. I haven't emotionally divorced myself from the fatal assignment yet. That's why she's holding on.
And what is Static doing? What is this ball of energy that he has surrounding her at this point?
It's basically the equivalent of he's holding her with his hands.
Okay.
Right? Like he's holding her. You know, he's cradling her, right? That's the communication of I'm not letting you go. I'm with you to the end on this.
Black Lightning can't do that.
Wow. You know, why are we you're turning this into a different kind of a show, Paul. We love the Pierce family. Marquise, are you hearing me? We love the Pierces.
Black Lightning too. Yeah. Hey, I gotta go, gentlemen. I just wanted to say thank you all very much for inviting me.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, sir.
Carry on. You're in capable hands. And thank you again, Black Comic Lords, for your support. It's been just incredible. It's been incredible. And just thank you guys. Anyway, I'll be watching, but I gotta go. So
okay.
You're welcome back anytime. Let us know whenever you want to come back.
All right.
Talk soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Have a good one, Dennis.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're scum! We suck!
Basically, yes. That's exactly how I feel. All right.
Sensei has left the building.
Dr. Wizard, let's bring the stuff back on the screen. All right. So, things fall apart, as Chinua Achebe would say, right?
Indeed.
Icon uses his Mega Blast and is tearing Alva apart, who is now infected with the nanites. So he's weakened. He can finally get the advantage. I love the fact that Rocket is blown off, you know, and who's there to pick her up? Got you. I got you. This one panel, just the look on this is art, man. The look on Static's face, you know, he's looking at her, he's protective, he's got her wrapped in his arm. Just a cool moment, man. Still part of me still hopes the two of them will become a couple someday. You know,
We'll see.
You and me both.
That whole black super love thing is a big thing with me. There's not a lot of black super love in comics, and they would just make the cutest couple. And they've come a long way because, you know, they end up going to the same high school, and she's like, "You're a dork," and he was. I mean, he's a dork, but he's grown up a lot, right?
Yeah.
They've both grown as characters since their initial iterations. They've been through a lot, and they've been through a lot together. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit.
Okay.
I got to interject some more about this color, man. I know it's kind of like
I mean,
look,
Man,
you
I
know,
love
look
you,
at the
Daryl.
colors on this page. These two panels right here, man.
just I mean, whenever I would get the PDFs, I'm like, that's it. He did it again, and so fast. I'm like, yeah. I was told him, I said, man, you'll never get rid of me. It's like, you know, if Marquis says that, who do you want to color it? Like, oh, let me.
So damn dramatic. Everything is dramatic with this coloring.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm watching this is almost like the Milestone movie.
Yeah. That's how I felt working on
He
it.
never overworks it. It's
I'll tell you something. I was just at a signing, and I was talking, and Chris Cross and I were doing a signing, and we were talking about coloring. And I was saying one of the things that annoys me is, so when you see it's something called a color hold, right? It's when you take a black line, but it's like you, and I'm not explaining it technically, but like it's no longer black, it's a color,
like
because
Alva.
you're trying to show the illusion of distance.
Mm-hmm.
So what a lot of colorists do is they will just color hold an entire background.
Mm.
But if you see what Chris has done here in this first panel, there's a building down there on the right of Rocket,
Right,
which still basically has its black line. But if you go further into the background and you go up the panel at the top right corner, that's
Fade
color
out.
held entirely differently.
Yeah.
So Chris is actually not doing the color hold indiscriminately. He's doing it methodically to communicate depth.
yeah,
And that's what I mean by the best colorists or artists.
And
You
Joe, I'm
wanna
going to
tell
add
us
to
a little
that.
bit about that?
Technique, that's atmospheric perspective, and
Yeah.
Chris is one of the masters of it.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. Listen,
Thank you.
you're welcome. See, we notice how your diabolical mind works.
Yeah.
We see these things.
I noticed.
This was an over-talented book. Let me tell you.
I like that term, Paul. Over talented.
Over-talented book. Alva's getting the business. FAFO Hardware, which is his new official name. Ripping him
I'm
check.
looking for my check, by the way. I need my check.
Someone can break his check now.
He's literally lauding over him. He's about to issue the death knell. This is a throwback to the original Hardware from back in the original Milestone days, who would literally murder his opponents, you know, just indiscriminately, just killing bad guys left and right. He's at that moment where this is the guy who started it all. This is the guy who ran his life through the ringer. This is the guy that caused Curtis Metcalf to become Hardware in the first place because he was pissed. And here's this final moment. He's trying to take over the world. He's messed up his life. He's made him a fugitive. He's framed him for a dozen murders. What do you do to a guy like that? Well,
It's the if you could go back in time and baby Hitler question, isn't it?
yeah. With a question he's answered, right?
He,
In
dude,
the Icon and Hardware series.
dude, he answers it there, and then don't forget when Angela has him, and he's like, "We both know the truth. Like, you weren't hiding out.
Right.
You were planning to kill my brother." Curtis does not deny this.
Right.
Curtis
Right.
says nothing. He
And
says nothing.
Because Joe Illidge does his research, ties it. He said at the very beginning when this book was released, read your Milestone books, everybody. It all matters. It all matters.
Yep.
And he learned from his Icon and Hardware storyline, and he's a different cat. Curtis 1.0 from the original Milestone, Edwin would already be dead.
Yeah, that's true.
He's pausing. He's thinking about it. He actually paused, you know, and Rocket's talking him down like, no, don't be that dude. Don't be that dude. You're not that dude anymore. You've grown. Right?
Yeah.
You've got Static and Icon. They're not saying anything. They're just watching like, I wonder what he's going to do. I mean, you almost want to have both of these. I love this panel with Static and Icon. You almost psychologically, you almost want to have like both of them with a tub of popcorn, like sitting there watching, like, I wonder what's going to happen next. Like, I don't know. This is great. You know, it's one of those type of moments. And then he cocks up his gun and he's good. He's good. He's like, all right, I'll let justice play out. And then we have this panel.
Such a great shot.
Yep. I mean, Daryl just has all the characters acting, man. It's like, I didn't write any of that.
Look,
all the
Daryl,
characters are acting. Characters are paired up with one another. I love how Rocket and Hardware Omega, you don't know what they're saying, but they're saying something to one another. It's like, come on, man.
The body language, the gesture.
All of it.
This was the ultimate page.
All of it.
I have to ask, Daryl, do you have this original art? And may I have it?
Bad news. You know, I'm digital now. I mean, I don't. I'm not analog, but one thing I haven't mentioned this entire session here. I'm a big fan of Brickhouse now. She's fun to draw. It's kind of
I want to draw her.
Yeah, man. I just, like I said, I feel like I've become such a much bigger Milestone fan, having worked on this. It's like, wow, these are people need to know this. This is some great stuff, great characters. You know, much more than what they might get just from the surface. And then there's the fun factor of drawing, as Ray can attest. You know, they're just there's that first pass familiarity. Like you might think, oh, Hardware, Iron Man, but not really. It's like once you get in, like, well, okay, I can see some of the initial comparisons, but they're unique, you know. And yeah, as far as you know, how fun they are to draw. Now, of course, you know, I think about the great designs, like, you know, Tech 9. I think definitely that's a Chris Williams design.
Yep, that's a crisscross design. Yeah.
I can kind of tell his designs because they're just so like modern without, I mean, it's more like just his signature of just the design beats to it. You know, it's
100%.
You know, shout out to Chris Cross also, because he's the one that in the original series redesigned Brickhouse from her original iteration.
Right.
There was a big storyline where she goes into a beauty salon, a meta-human beauty salon.
Yes.
And has do you remember that, Joe?
Yes.
She had a redo of herself, a makeover.
Yes.
And the way Chris Cross drew her made her beautiful, because before that she was looking kind of crazy.
I think weren't they all getting hooked up because they were all going to go to Holocaust Club?
Correct. And
they had that cover that was a takeoff of the Untouchables movie poster where they're all dressed in like suits and stuff.
Right. And Chris Cross made her look beautiful. He completely revitalized, and that look that you gave her, Daryl, that's that look that he created.
Yeah, that's not for Chris, you know, references. I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, because I think Brickhouse and Bridget looked more like a monster, and Chris kind of,
Correct.
Yeah, she looked more like Ben Grimm. In the early days.
Yeah.
He made her a literal brick house after that.
Yes, he brought the namesake in, like for real.
Oh, like Eclectic keeps sneaking in these questions. Joe, does Brickhouse wear the equivalent of unstable molecules?
Yes, 100%.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, for the material to expand and all, 100%. Because then otherwise it's no fun. It's like the stuff keeps ripping and whatnot. So yeah.
I Manifesto says Brickhouse got leggings and chancletas.
Damn right. Damn right.
It would have been so dope to see Brickhouse take off one of her chancletas.
You're killing me. You're killing me. Like throw it.
We gotta put that out there. Now we gotta see that.
Oh my god.
That would have been awesome. All right, we'll save that for the next issue.
Yeah.
So Edwin Alva Industries. Edwin is he in prison now? I guess is the idea.
Well, we're gonna get to a page where you're gonna see where he is.
So who is this woman? Who is this Angela? Or is
no, you know who this is. So she was in the first scene in Shadow Cabinet 1. Her name is Miss Baker. We're never told her first name. She's an NSA agent. She's the NSA agent from Icon and Rocket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she's in the very first scene in the system meeting where Angela Alva basically walks in and takes leadership by force.
Right. So she's done it again. And is she an agent in your mind? Is she an agent of Shadow Cabinet? Is she working with them in any way?
Okay, so let's talk about that, because remember we said in the very beginning we would talk about what Shadow Cabinet is. So, you saw that Dharma made different incarnations through the years, right?
Right.
And he kept losing people, right? So the conclusion that he came to is that the best way to have a Shadow Cabinet is not as a big organized team of people, but it's a bunch of people who don't even know they're part of the revolution. They don't even know they're part of the team. I am pushing and pulling them so that their actions work towards a unified goal. Right? So when you're talking about movements and when you're talking about revolutions, there are layers. One of the layers are the people that don't even know they're part of the revolution. They don't know they're part of the fight. But by virtue of what they do every day, they make a difference, right? That's what the Shadow Cabinet is now. Most people don't even know that they're a part of it.
Right.
But Dharma knows.
It's like a machine, but all the parts aren't really talking to each other and know about each other.
Exactly. And just for the people who are gonna ask this question, in my mind, there's a Shadow Cabinet Black. And Shadow Cabinet Black is where Donner and Blitzen are, and some of the other people So what you see here, there's like Nucleic Shadow Cabinet, which is Iron Butterfly, Anansi, and Dharma. There's Shadow Cabinet Black, and then there's all these other people who don't know that they're part of the mission.
Okay, so that was my last question for you. At the end, I was going to ask that question, but thank you.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about quantum juice and how it works, significance of it, and instead, a question that hadn't really been explored in the original Milestone days, other than Holocaust getting a vial of it and doing some shenanigans for that. Why hasn't anyone tried to replicate the juice and do other things with it? And that's the big idea that Technique and Angela are going to run with. Like, where do we take this quantum juice and do some other things with it? What in your head is you got Brainiac 2.
Yeah.
We saw how the story ended with Brainiac 1. Why would you then do Brainiac 2?
Okay, so that's an excellent question. So I'll tell you two things. Number one, so you asked where Edwin Alva is. Edwin Alva is in that chamber in the back of panel 2. That's where he is, right? He's his mutated form, he's comatose in there. Right? So now let's talk about why Brainiac 2. So Tiffany mentions the concept of anti-fragility. There's a really excellent book on business and the physics of business called Anti-Fragile. And what Anti-Fragile puts forth is that we have been taught to be resilient, right? So resilience means if there's a storm and you're a tree in a storm, you're resilient so that you don't get blown down. And what the book puts forth is that resilience is incorrect. What businesses need to be organisms that use chaos to evolve, because chaos is inevitable, right? So instead of trying to be able to withstand chaos, you should use chaos, right? So what Tiffany is saying is, Brainiac has become the boogeyman of our world, right? Well, then why don't we embrace the fear and learn lessons from him? And Brainiac 1 was something we didn't make, but we'll make Brainiac 2. Right? Now she's a scientist and Angela's a narcissist. So they're operating under the hubris that they can control Brainiac 2. Exactly. But in the DC universe, you get to the 30th century and there's a Brainiac 5, right? So basically, we're putting the Dakotaverse on the same pathway of the DC universe for the evolution of Brainiac.
You're mixing science and metaphysics.
Yes.
I get the feeling something bad is going to happen.
We'll find out in 6 months when Tiffany presents the prototype for Brainiac 2.
All right. So Curtis, my man's been framed for 15 counts of involuntary manslaughters. 12, people are going to decide his fate. He's got Augustus Freeman.
Yep.
To represent him.
Yep.
Please tell me my man's not going to get convicted.
We don't know. This is the last 8 minutes of the last episode of The Wire. We don't know what happens tomorrow. Maybe we'll find out. But today, the trial of the Big Bang begins.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. The greatest offense is the Big Bang. You can't convict me of this. Look at what happened.
Listen, it could go either way.
Yeah.
It could go either way, right? And it's funny because when we were talking about this, Reggie actually wanted us to do the trial of the Big Bang, and it was like, oh man, we would need I think we need another comic. We need another comic, but I mean, I'd love to do it.
It's man, I'm always guilty of going too far down the rabbit hole on this stuff. But, a trial of the Big Bang is really a microcosm of the trial of the military industrial complex on the hood, right?
Yep.
The classism at its core, the exploitation of the poor for the military industrial complex. That's what that trial is really about.
Yep.
I mean, I'm an attorney in my day job, in my secret agent, my secret identity. That's the defense I'd run with. It's not a trial about Curtis Metcalf. It's a trial about all of you.
Bigger picture.
That's right. That's right.
You can't convict me without convicting yourselves. That would be my closing argument.
There we go.
All right. And then Joe Illidge, you beautiful bastard. You bring back Kwai, Demon Fox from Blood Syndicate. Characters that Jeffrey Thorne said, damn, I wish I had a few more pages so I could have brought these characters back.
But he did. Remember, there's in issue 5, I think it's issue 5, where Flashback goes too forward into the future, and she sees Kwai, and she's like, what the hell are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here yet. And like, go back, right? Because it, like the fight with the Demon Fox is coming, right? And so this is the beginning of that.
You've literally set up an entire new Blood Syndicate storyline series. You have to reclaim Paris Island from the military. A real war is coming. I'm Kwai and Demon Fox. We're gonna slaughter you. Demon Fox is gonna slaughter you all. This is a whole nother volume. And you did it in like less than a paragraph.
This is what we do.
You're gonna cause a riot.
Cliff.
All right, so here's our epilogue.
Yeah.
Sotomayor,
I was.
Oh my God.
Bro, why am I looking at this third panel of Icon and Rocket? And
Static and Rocket.
I'm sorry, Static and Rocket, and I can literally feel the warmth on their faces right now.
100%. 100%.
How is it I'm feeling that? How is it I'm feeling that?
I like I said before, man, I'm just following everyone's lead. I'm trying to keep up with everybody and not drop the ball. That's it.
I think when these pages came in, I think I was like 10 out of 10 no notes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what you
10
said.
out of 10. What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
And I'll point out again, my man Static is not floating on a trash can.
Nope.
He's floating on a ball of energy that he created.
Yep.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
Yep.
Making this a key issue.
Yep.
It's a beautiful sight. And we have the new dynamic duo of Milestone.
Yep.
Static and Rocket. Or Rocket and Static, more appropriate.
Yep.
You promised some type of, mention of MD Bright, and you went a step further. Shout out to your whole team, dedicated to Dwayne McDuffie, Robert L. Washington III, John Paul Leon, Maddie Blaustein, and MD Bright.
Yes.
Greats, all greats.
Family.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're family.
Yes, they are. And they're all sorely missed. And I think they're all smiling down on the efforts you guys put into this book. Shout out to each and every one of you guys, man. You all put your heart and souls in this. I talk about this all the time. I know you guys are tired of hearing me say it, but I'm an OG Milestone guy from day one. And I can tell you that I appreciate this book. I appreciated the series. I appreciate the work you put into it. You felt it. You felt the love you guys put into it. It was clearly evident in every single page and every single panel. And thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Like Dennis said, y'all are here, helping to boost our presence in the industry, to have these conversations. And, it was just perfect, like Adagun doing those last pages and kind of like, going from Daryl to Adagun, like one generation to another, but also like, when Rocket started in the story, it was in the dead of night. And, she was just living day by day and she didn't know. And, now it's a new day and she knows. And it's her and Virgil now. And that page was actually an homage to the very last page of Hardware 32, which was the last issue of Hardware that Dwayne and Dennis worked on together, where Hardware's flying towards us and he knows who he is. He knows he's a good guy. And, there's a sign in the back that says the future is now.
Speaking of the future, what is the future for these characters? What can you tell us? Let's split something about 6 months. What are you talking about?
Well, So
Yeah, you let it slip, Joe. You let it slip.
a lot of this is above my pay grade, and our editor is in the chat somewhere. I hope he's still here. But here's here's the thing. When we say there he is,
He's staring right at
there
you.
is our Dharma, right? So here's the thing about Milestone. When we say Milestone forever, like those are not just words. Milestone keeps coming back. Milestone is the Sebastian Shaw of comics.
Yeah.
You think you've got Milestone knocked down, they get up stronger, they come back. So that's the thing. It's like these characters will always be here. Now, what tomorrow looks like, we'll find out tomorrow. We'll find out when the next announcement comes, when the next thing happens. But for all of us, we understood the importance of this story. And, the story was really about the return of heroes and establishing these two young people as the future.
Yeah.
Right. And it was very important. It was very important for Static, who is so beloved. It is very important for Rocket, who, as far as I'm concerned, is at the heart of this universe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's important for them together. You talked about Black love, how there's not enough of that in comics. Well, one of those forms of love is platonic. Before you can get to romantic, you start off with platonic. And so, there's that little kind of scene where, he says, I'll never leave you out there alone again. And she's like, are you trying to put a shock to my system? And he's like, nah. Right. But there's genuine love there. Right. He will not leave her alone again. And that's why she says he is more than I realized. I thought lesser of him, but in him is so much more. Right. So let's see what the future looks like. But at least we know the sun rises.
Yes, we do. And it's super warm as colored by
as well it should be. I think what I said to Chris, I think I said something like Steven Spielberg. Like, I think that's what I said, like when Steven Spielberg would do it, like, dawn and like sunrises. And that's what it is, right? Like this is the first day.
Wow.
Right.
Cole says still need to see Cobalt in a better outfit and that couple from
I like Cobalt. I like Cobalt and Paige. So, let's see, right? But what we wanted to do again was like really, really, really set up the future and make sure all the characters have some sort of resolution, right? And so, that's what we did. And I mean, I'm just thrilled that I got to work with all these great people. And I hope Marquise is here because we're all going to have to work together again. And I'm just going to put that on his shoulders and he'll have to figure out a project and make that happen. So that's it.
Still out there.
Huh?
Sanction's still out there.
That's right. That's right.
I like him.
Sanction needs his own spin-off series and have him have a whole eclectic background doing Black Ops missions.
I know some stuff about him already. I listen, you don't understand, dude. You don't understand like how many series I could write. I could write the Angela, Alva, Transit, and Tiffany Evans series, and just like these three women out there in the world of high corporate billionaire stuff. Like we just wanted to set this up for so many spinoffs.
Yeah. You have. You have.
Yeah.
I need these threads to come together into a tapestry. Do you guys have some time for some questions? I think
sure.
Dr. Wizard
come on.
Has some questions for you.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What do you got, Dr. Wizard? Joe, awesome job on this series. Comics need more of your writing. I'm praying this series continues.
That's facts.
Thank you very much. Very kind.
All right. What else we got? Khatib says, Joe wasn't just the writer. He was a one-man marketing team for the series. Yes.
Absolutely. Get the word out.
All
right.
So you went
DC to get the
above and beyond to promote your own book. And I'm seeing more and more creators do that. So shout out to you, because you can't necessarily rely on just marketing, the official marketing thing, going out, putting your heart and soul out there, telling the fans, hey, this book is coming out, support my book. I really truly believe that has an effect, and you really went above and beyond what I've seen most creators do in that respect. So, mad props to
Thanks,
you.
Joe.
Thank you.
Paul, the thing is, between Black Comic Lords and you guys hooking up with Joe, that really just, man, it was incredible. So it's all a team effort.
Yep, 100%. It is. I try to mention the team as much as possible because it really is a group effort. Listen, if it was just my words, and this would be prose, it wouldn't be comics. Right. They make it comics. And I have a next door neighbor. He said something to me once, I just never forgot it. He said, always bet on yourself. If we can't communicate to you that this is your new favorite superhero comic, then why should you believe it?
Yeah.
Right? We have to tell you that because we know that, because we brought everything we had.
Our best.
Because number one, we all really get along. We've all known each other for years and we work well together. But Milestone means so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It means so much. And that's the thing. That's what, I felt like I was promoting. It was that. And it's the thing where it's this kind of like programming that happens where you are supposed to wake up in the morning and automatically think you're second or third.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we're first.
Yeah.
We're Milestone. We did the things in the 20th century that y'all are patting yourselves on the back for in the 21st century. We're static. Understand? You get no Miles Morales without us.
Facts.
Okay? Static has changed the world.
Yes.
Milestone has changed entertainment. Milestone has created careers, galvanized careers. That's what we are. So that's what I wanted to always put out there, like the dream, right? And that's it. So we're never second or third.
No one can say it better than what you just said, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one can say it better.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be sitting here with all you right now if it had not been for Milestone and for Dennis Cowan. The reason I'm a Black Comic Lord today, the reason I go so hard for each and every one of you and these books that you put out is because of Milestone and Dennis Cowan.
Yep.
Facts. I mean, it's not even ambiguous.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's special. Milestone's special.
I owe my career to Dennis.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
He mentored me. He mentored me, so I was like,
when I was a youngster.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I would catch up with him at a show at Rosemont, Illinois, the Chicago Con. Not this is long before C2E2. This is when both me and Dennis had much more hair. And he'd see me coming because every time I would try to do the show as often as I could, and I would catch up with him, and he'd look over my work and stuff, and he wasn't cruel. He was strict, but he was kind enough where I felt both inspired, and it was like when I used to teach, I used to tell my students, it's not a critique unless it hurts your feelings a little bit, but it's almost like lifting weights. You got to tear that muscle to build it.
Yes. That's so well
100
work, and
that's it.
He'd tear it just enough to build it, and I'm like, okay, next time I'm going to have something else to show him. Then I got to look at his stuff. Then I think I bought a Black Panther sketch from him. But,
oh my god!
But yeah, so I mean, when Dennis and I designed Sanction with the armor and all that, I'm like, that's a co-design with like a mentor. You know, we teamed up together. You know, I went from amateur to now I'm you know the Padawan and the Jedi working together. You know, and that blows my mind. I'm telling you, you know, it really does.
Yeah.
What other questions you got here, Dr. Wizard? My producer might be on his bathroom break again.
Oh my goodness. But we're left with a quote by the great section. Okay, there it is.
Is her suit sort of like Kid Quantum from Legion of Superheroes, just more advanced? Only hers doesn't get her killed like it did Jamal Color.
I am honestly not up enough on Legion of Superheroes these days to answer that question. Again, you know, her suit is entirely nanotech, right? And so it takes a molecular and atomic. Oops, sorry about that. It takes molecular and atomic matter and, you know, particles from nearby sources, and it uses that to help rebuild like her armor, but also the nanotechnology is coded for certain characteristics like the inertia field capability. So I would think of it as more akin to, I mean, I don't know about a comic parallel, but kind of like in the MCU, the Iron Man armor that he introduced in Avengers Infinity War. Think about something like that, and the fact that when nanotechnology creates things, it doesn't always have to be rigid.
Right.
It can have some flexibility to it because you know how there are intelligent fabrics that you can apply electricity and it creates a shape. Like that's real. Like these things are used in military applications. So it's kind of that, right? Think of it that way.
And if you have not already, please like this video. Take a second.
Hell yeah!
Like the video.
Is there a
Share it
love
on
button? Can
Like,
people love this video?
Love
If
the
you double
video.
tap, what happens if you double tap?
Seriously,
If you're not
like
subscribe to Black
like-
Comic Lords, why not? We do dope content like this every week. Subscribe to the channel. It helps us out. It helps our algorithm do its thing so that we can grow the channel and share more of this content with each and every one of you. And it costs you nothing. Like, share, and subscribe, please. All right, next question. So, wow, Static is on Blue Marvel's level.
You know what? I'll say this because Kevin Greavy used to be my neighbor.
Oh, really?
And-
what?
Oh, Johnny, like we would see each other at the grocery store. So when he was pitching Blue Marvel, he came to my house and we talked about it. And I thought as I heard Kev like go through, you know, all of Blue Marvel's abilities and stuff, I was like, and now knowing Static's abilities as well, I don't know, man. Like it's so much untapped. Marvel will not let Blue Marvel do his thing.
Bingo.
You'll never see his full capacity.
Bingo.
Right? But it with Joe and Draper at the helm of Milestone, they've already shown you some things about Static, and that's the tip of the iceberg. Right. So you be the judge.
Best answer. We won't answer it. We've given you information. You answer it.
See, another thing, I think it's sometimes with characters we get, and I'll speak for myself, sometimes we get caught up with power levels and abilities. But I think part of what we're dealing with is Virgil Hawkins is an interesting person, even if he didn't have any of his powers. I think the readers are really interested in the journey of this young man. You know, because remember, he's also brilliant. You know,
yes, he is.
And Daryl, I was going to say that because they're both geniuses.
Right.
Dude, 100%. I mean, listen, Static came from the DNA of Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Peter Parker was first and foremost a scientist.
Right.
Yep.
And so Virgil is a scientist.
Yeah. James Gunn talks about Milestone Comics, but no movement yet?
Well, he's got a big job. Superman has to succeed. Once Superman succeeds, then we need to make a concerted effort to have a meeting with him about that. If Reggie and Dennis haven't done that already, that may already be happening above our pay grade, but Mr. Gunn has to make sure that Superman is a hit.
Yeah.
First. then we can get to Virgil Hawkins.
Did the big guy from Big Guy and Rusty inspire FAFO hardware, or maybe the Hulkbuster armor?
I actually found, I don't know, it was a pinup because I don't have the issue, but there was a drawing of hardware done by MD Bright.
Yes.
With this really big armor. So I saw that. I thought, okay, that kind of gave me a sense of scale. Then, of course, me being into anime and the way I am, especially old school stuff, so I just took it there. But so it was a combination of, it was, believe it or not, it wasn't as Hulkbuster as you might believe. I was really thinking of this MD Bright drawing I had seen some time ago. I don't know if he actually appeared. I don't. It probably was called like Hardware 2.0 or something like that.
It was called Hardware 3.0.
3.0.
It was in Hardware 50, which was the last book I edited. That was the last book I edited at Milestone 1.0. And the thing is, if Hardware had continued, that was going to be his new setup after Hardware 50. Dwayne came up with the idea that his main suit, it would be him in the forge, right?
Okay.
And that he would pull out the big thing for big missions.
Okay.
So he could be more James Bondish instead of, having the bulk.
Right.
So I didn't know you saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. I had, like I said, working on this it's like made me a fan. I'm like, well, let me, I've only met Mark one time. We're both guests at the Cincinnati Comic Expo several years ago before he passed. And he's an interesting individual to say the least. But
the very least, such a good guy.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I think the first time I spoke with him on the phone years ago because he was on an issue of Green Lantern with Fatality, another one of mine.
Yes.
I thought, well, if he's going to be drawing this issue, like, can I call him? Because whenever I have someone whose work I admire, especially growing up, I find an excuse to get someone's number from my editor. Like, I had Kevin Nolan was inking some of my covers. I'm like, Kevin Nolan, like, hey, can I chat with him about anything? So the same with Bright. So I'm like, this guy, his work on Iron Man, amongst other things. I'm like, I gotta, kind of pick his brain a little bit, So the mess around and find out armor.
Look, it is officially the FAFO armor. Yeah. We're not getting around that anymore.
I should have had
that
like on the armor somewhere,
Make your checks out to
Ray Anthony.
Ray's gonna have that trademark by the end of the week.
That's a fact.
But I need an action figure of that too. I'm telling you, I'm a toy guy.
Have there been any conversation about connecting with Challenges of the Unknown or Power Company?
That has not come up unless that's happening and I'm not in the room or I'm not on the email chain. I mean, my thing, it's funny. So I'm a big fan of Challengers of the Unknown. I know they're back. I don't know what's going on. I read the Power Company DC Power one shot. I see something really cool being set up. Someone sitting here, Mr. Height here worked on it, and I know Brian Hill's doing a one shot. So we'll see. It all comes down to really what the future is going to look like for these characters. But I really, think the important thing is that we showed how these characters stand on their own.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't need to be with other characters to be cool. Like, they are cool. So let's see what happens. But I would be up for any kind of cool interaction, with the DC universe. As long as it makes sense and it's really an important story. It's not casual.
I'm just a snob. I prefer Milestone to be its own thing. They don't need
dude. I hear you.
I don't mean to be disrespectful to DC. I'm just saying they're their own universe. I like them to be in their own universe. They don't need to be in other universes or vice versa in order to thrive.
We have so many stories to tell first.
Exactly.
100%.
More than enough stories to tell within their own universe.
100%.
All right. The next book is going to be called Rocket and Static or Static and Rocket.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't know what the next book is going to be called, but if those are the choices, if those are the two options, then it's Rocket and Static.
I think you can't get around that.
It's Rocket and Static. You know,
Don't you think it had to be Static and Rocket for brand recognition?
Let me tell you something. I don't work for. I'm not an employee of a corporation, so I don't have to think about it from that perspective. I have to think about it from the perspective of Rocket is the leader.
Yes,
Static will never leave her side, and that's the end of the conversation.
She would literally turn to Static and go, "Just understand, your support, bro."
but also, it's kind of like this thing is like, well, what is she, Rosa Parks? What does Rocket sit in the back of the bus? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't think so.
Right. All right. Have you found that your interaction with fans, like here, informs or inspires your written or visual creative storytelling choices in some specific way? If so, where would we see the influence? In Black Comic Lords, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I would be interested to hearing what Daryl and Ray and Chris think. I don't want to take it up.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Well,
how much does fandom influence what you guys do?
You want to know, what do people think? Because sometimes I'm just too close to what I'm doing. You could just be so close. It's like you need another set of eyes on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, I gotta know. It's like a report card, or like Dancing with the Stars. You do thinking that the stars pop up.
With stars.
Wow. No,
I love that.
I like it. I mean, I try to interact with the fans all the time, and my peers, and I mean, man, I have talked to Joe and Daryl. Well, actually, the little behind the scenes, as we had the big thread. Then Daryl and I had our own.
You sneaky guys! What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were trading secrets about Clip Studio Paint and different stuff like that, and it was really, really, really cool because I was a huge fan of Daryl's, and to get to be that close, because we speak at shows but we don't see each other enough. So this was really, really, really cool. So talking to him and then thinking about, like, we like a lot of the same things, and then when I think about the fan base, they like a lot of the same things. Right. So that was why I ended up adding the Ang Ball, because I was like, Static is powerful AF, man. Like he is still, like, if you read, you're gonna read the comics, you know who Static is. He still has that wondrous feeling. He's still a young man, and he's still, although this last little turn has kind of soured him on some stuff, but he, that talk with his mom, and then him and Raquel and all that, he's himself again, and he's like, he is a hero who tries to see the fun in things, but he ain't here to play either. So that's him also kind of like, okay, how cool is that? Like, oh, is he riding like a little ball? You know what I mean? Like, it's just fun, right? And I just wanted to show his personality. And then, like, looking at Daryl's stuff with the expressions, master of expressions here, and all the stuff he's had, with Rocket, and I like doing expressions too, so we fit very well. And I was just like, yep, let's carry that over. So when she looks back and talking to Static, she got a little attitude. Like, right? Like, boy.
Yeah, because she's basically, dude, it's crazy. Again, because emotionally, like 15 seconds ago, she was like, I'm gonna die.
Yes.
Right? So she even says to him, like, you were supposed to let me finish the job. My job was to die blowing this guy up. And Static's like, no. I've read a bunch of superhero guidebooks. None of them involve, like, letting your partner die.
Right. Not gonna happen.
Like,
that's not part of the code.
Out everything. Just let me go. Did Dr. Manhattan inspire Edwin Alvin's quantum energy form? That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a yes and a no, right? It's like, you know, to represent, you know, Edwin Alva as this quantum being, you know, I think I said in the script, like, evocative of Dr. Manhattan when I was talking to Chris in the script, but not necessarily the same exact color. So he's a bit more nuclear. He's a bit more fluorescent because Dr. Manhattan's is very pale, passive, like Martha Stewart, light blue, right? Like Edwin Alva is glowing, right?
Or a monster.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah. He's glowing. And also, and so in that way, and also again, we used Watchmen #4 as a kind of template, which is the origin of Dr. Manhattan. So I feel like Dr. Manhattan got in there, but the goal was never like, we're making our own Dr. Manhattan, right? This is basically, this is the worst version of Edwin Alva we could imagine, right?
I think he's got a little Tetsuo from Akira in there as well.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, the tentacles and stuff like that, it's just like, you know, he's more than human and he's less than human at the same time.
Right.
And visually, there's more texture to Alva too. Like
Yeah.
there's more energy bouncing around inside of his form.
Yeah,
than there
that
in
was
Dr.
great.
Manhattan.
When you created that effect that, like, under the skin, you could see this quantum activity happening.
Right.
And the tendrils as well emanating from his body.
Yeah.
C. Cole says, who did the static poster behind Joe?
Oh, that was done by an artist. Hold on, let me see which way I'm walking. That way. An artist named Wilfredo Santiago, who did a lot of work in the original Milestone, and that was supposed to be a cover. I don't think it was ever used, but he also did an Icon and Rocket piece that was used as a cover, and he did a hardware piece that was used as a cover. I feel like the static never got to print, but there were a series of circumstances that, you know, ended up that needed a caretaker. It needed someone to take care of it because things happen, you know, and art gets lost or art gets relocated. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I took that one for myself. And then the other two, I actually sent those to Dwayne McDuffie. So I think those are now in the care of Charlotte Fullerton McDuffie, his widow.
Nice.
Yeah, protecting original art is important. It's important.
100%.
Curation of all that. So, you know, if any of you guys on this panel have any original art that you'd like me to take care of you, particularly from this issue, I would be more than happy to take care of it for you. I'm just putting it out there. I gotta shoot my shot.
It's safe.
You do. You got to shoot your shot.
I gotta shoot my shot.
Yeah.
Question for the creative team: what would be the best way to reach out to you?
Wow.
That's
Oh, interesting. Oh, I see. I know for me, I think Specs Vision has reached out to me. So I have to respond. I mean, I'm on all the socials, so I can be DM'd, but I think Specs Vision reached out to me, so I will respond. I've just been busy. We're always busy.
I think Specs Vision might be the same guy, Specs Thompson, who, if it's the same guy, he has his own comic book. He's an independent comic book creator.
Oh, got you.
Met him at Atlantic Comic Con last year. Nice
guy. Okay. I have a I think I have a DM, so I'll respond to that. Just been wrapping up a lot of stuff.
He's been busy. To the art team, how do you find rest when a page is done versus noodling forever? The work sits on the knife's edge of detail and clarity, masterful stuff.
So I want to clarify, Paul, now that we've clarified that is not Draper.
This is not Marquise Draper.
No, that is my Marquise. He is a part of Studio Sky Tiger. He actually,
because Draper was here though.
Yeah. I saw one of his. Yeah. So yeah, here's this guy is part of my team. What's up, Marquise?
That's another Marquise.
Yes.
Because I saw that, I'm like, well, now is there more than one? So thanks for clarifying that. Because I'm like, is that okay? All right.
To answer the question, though, how do you find rest when a page is done versus noodling forever? When is enough enough? Where you stop like, man, maybe I could tweak it more.
When the editor emails you.
Deadline. Look at the
That's
clock.
that is the answer.
Yeah. That's the answer.
That's the answer.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Time
I
to
think
go.
that was overly simplified, but really, because I mean, I remember a time in my career, especially when I was analog, is that trying to make the wizard top 10, and I'm over rendering it. And it's kind of like after a while, I'm like, just do it, just get it done. The inker's waiting on you, So yeah, it's like I said, I don't want to sound overly simplified, but really, when the key is, are you telling the story? Because I have to tell myself, you're not trying to make an art portfolio. You're telling the story. Are you getting the point across? Are you illustrating the mood? Are you developing the characters? Are you making it about, is it a we or is it an I? So to me, that helps me not over render, that sort of thing.
Preach. Yes, Lord.
Can we turn some of this original art into apparel, i.e. t-shirts?
I wish.
Oh.
Those are questions for Reginald Hudlin, Dennis Cowan, and Warner Brothers.
Yeah, the copyright owners.
Yeah.
I do have a
Juneteenth T-shirt with Icon and other.
They made a shirt of that?
Yes, that Dennis drew.
I know.
I did not know that.
I picked up one of those.
I have the Torrin Clark T-shirt.
Wow.
What?
Is that one of a kind, like a custom?
This is a one of one.
Wow.
One.
Torrin Clark, when he was doing the promotional artwork, I was sending it out, doing my Black Comic Lord stuff, trying to promote it. And he says, "Oh, that image is low grade. It's terrible. Let me send you the high res image."
What?
Wow.
And so he emailed it or whatever he did and sent it to me, and I had it made into a T-shirt.
Wow.
People,
So that's a question for the big wigs.
Yeah, let them make their dollars.
Please don't sue me, DC or Milestone.
They're not gonna.
It's not for sale. I just made it for myself.
Exactly. If it's a one-on-one, you got no problem.
It's a one of one. It's a one of one. How did y'all get Mobius to do the last issue of Static's cover? Oh
man, I think that was Dennis. I mean, Dennis, he just knew all the artists, man. I mean, he got Walt Simonson to do a month of covers, John Byrne to do a month of covers, Howard Chaykin. Like who?
Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, I mean, he was just like getting the industry's top artists, and the Static one that had been done a year before it came out on a cover of Static 45.
Oh wow!
But Mobius also did a hardware which was printed, and he did an icon. It had Icon and Rocket on it. I don't think that ever became a cover, but I think you could find it on the internet. But it has Icon and Rocket in this like yellow building in back of them. But yeah, Mobius did 3 covers, absolutely stunning. So him doing, and again, that goes to the fact that Milestone was swinging for the fences, just like, the big two. Like, we were getting the best artists to do the things. Dennis was really digging into his Rolodex and getting the best.
Yeah. Oh God.
And discovering the best, because like Humberto Ramos
say,
got his start. Jimmy Palmiotti started there.
Yep.
That was one of the places he
John
early work.
John Paul, Chris. Yeah, listen.
Yep.
Listen.
They can spot talent a mile away.
Hell yeah.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
All right. Also, how do you all see these stories when you imagine them in your heads as writers, artists, and colors before you start working?
I'm not going to answer Marquise because he has my answers. I teach.
That's so funny. I mean, wow. From my perspective, as a writer, I have a version in my head. What I get from artists is 99% of the time not the version in my head, and better. Right? And that's the thing. I think as a writer, I cannot fall in love with my own vision of a thing. And, I have to be collaborative and say, hey, like, like no person is the boss of anyone else in a team, right? It's like, I've done my part here, take it to the next level. That person passes the baton, take it to the next level. And then what you get at the end is a sum, you know, like a whole that's greater than the sum of its parts. So
do you view your role, Joe, as a writer, as more of being a muse to inspire the storytelling of the artist?
It's interesting. So, you know, all these guys can tell you that my scripts are conversational. I think scripts are conversations. They're not orders. They're conversations, right? And I do want to inspire you. Like I do, like when I wrote the script direction for that page, that splash page of Static, it was all in. And, you know, I put the emotions on it and I called him Virgil Mother Effin Hawkins. And when he says the line, it's, you know, so to me, I am really just trying to, you know, inspire the artists and be collaborative. But yeah, you know, and that's part of the fun, you know, so the scripts are conversations.
Yeah.
Or when an artist doesn't understand modern slang, like, you know, Yakaguchi with the shank. Number one.
You're gonna tell that story?
I'm telling you, you talk about embarrassed. I'm like, oh, I misread that.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna go back to Shadow Cabinet 1 pause. So on page 1 of Shadow Cabinet 1, like one of the system guys like has a knife out, this strange knife, right? And he's like, you know, he's talking about how he's pissed off that they keep missing these Brainiac artifacts, right? And when I wrote it, I was writing not literally. I was saying he pulls out the shank in terms of, in a conversational way, he's moving in for the kill move. And Daryl took that literally and literally had him like holding this strange ass knife. And I said to him, I was like, but I said, but that works because it's more menacing.
I was willing to redraw it. I said, okay, that was my bad.
No,
the assignment. So, you know, but we left it in.
And that's an example of an artist making a writer look better. Because to me, if you've got a bunch of executives in this boardroom in a jet, and one of them just casually like pulls out this thing, like that tells you something about that person. Like that person has killed, will kill again, and is very serious about what he's saying. Like, this is the moment where you pay acute attention to me. So I was just like, dude, you're making me look better. Leave the knife.
Yeah, but it was still embarrassing. I'm thinking, oh, wow, I just didn't know that was a slang term. I mean, it had a case and everything. It's like the blade, but he had a little case for it. I'm like,
I loved it.
Wow.
You're killing me. I loved it. Those are the happy accidents that happen.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, we've gotten all our questions out. I wanted to thank each and every one of you for being on the show. Thank you for creating this masterful work of art that you guys did. It's incredible the amount of talent you assembled for one issue, and what you packed into that issue. It was fan appreciation book. It really was. Joe, you're a hardcore Milestone guy, and it showed on every single page. And I appreciate that. God, I wish we were doing this live. I'd pull out the issue and have each and every one of you sign it.
You'll have to catch up with us at cons.
Yeah,
that's gonna take some work tracking all you guys down. I'll have to figure that out somehow. I want each of you to talk about what new upcoming stuff you have coming out. Where can people catch what you're doing next? Especially you, Daryl. You piss me off every time.
Daryl's the mystery man of comics.
Well,
he just pops up. Oh, sorry, art by Daryl Banks, cover by Daryl Banks.
Right. Yeah. Surprise.
Surprise.
He's back. Don't call it a comeback.
So Daryl, we'll start with you. What do you have upcoming?
I things in the works. Some things that
I need concrete answers.
Too soon to tell. However, in my spare time, which is not a lot, as I'm reading Milestone things, you familiar with DMZ?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so I've been messing around with some costume designs because I'm thinking, is it time we kind of looked into? I mean, when you think about, there's some parallels with the Nova Corps, I think, and I feel that there's, I mean, because remember when Icon first meets DMZ from Blood Syndicate, it was like, hey, I know you? So
yep.
they pre-existed. I'm thinking, I feel like that's a mini series right there,
Oh yeah.
So,
and one thing that has not been explored a lot in Milestone Comics is the cosmic aspect of everything.
And that's that's my wheel.
Yeah,
that's my thinking.
And that's your wheelhouse with
Green Lantern. I'm thinking DMZ, the collective. What's how do they relate to Planet Terminus and all that sort of thing? Did they have any kind of run-ins with Arnis previously? It's all these things. These are the questions I'm thinking. I think there's some stories there. So
I like the way your brain works.
Yeah,
I like it. I want to see it. I want to see it. See, this is what pisses me off about
there was this 4-armed DMZ member.
That's right. That's right.
The big
when they came to get him, they all had the same outfit, but one guy had 4 arms.
Yep.
Oh
wow!
It's like
they were like their own galactic police.
Right. So I'm like, do we know who that is? Do the fans want to know who that is?
We sure as hell do.
Yeah.
So, fans, is that anyone?
Do the fans want Daryl Banks to draw it? Yes, we do.
Yes.
If you want to see more of Icon, because I would just waving the toy around. I really like that character. I just feel like there's. I mean, Milestone is just a wealth of great characters. I don't know. It's kind of like, wow, we could just keep this rolling. So
it's an IP that can go on for decades.
I think.
Yeah.
All right, Chris Sotomayor, colorist
extraordinaire.
The guy who makes the world a little bit brighter with every
Seriously,
there's warm sun on your face.
I'm doing a short story in an issue of Cable. I've got a graphic novel coming out with Sean Martinborough at Abrams Books.
No, you don't skip this guy. You guys are so humble. It's almost alienating. So you just drop. Yeah, I got a little book coming out with some guy named Sean Martinborough for Abrams.
Never heard of him. Sean who?
Who is that?
Kind of a big imprint. Our boy John Jennings is doing big things in Megascope and Abrams Comics. Right. Talk about that project. I think he just he just posted some stuff on that you guys are working on after thing's wrapped up with the Nancy Boys. That's his next big thing. What is that project?
It's called The Heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I can say about it. It's mostly black and white with spot color.
Okay.
So that's where I come in. I mean, I've known Sean forever. I've known Sean probably as long as I've known Joe. Actually, no, I've known Sean a little longer than I've known Joe.
Yeah, a little longer. Yeah.
And again, like I said, Dennis is responsible for my career in comics getting started. Sean is actually responsible for me getting my first break at Marvel. So the Milestone connections run deep. So it's a huge graphic novel called The Heavy. It's a gangster book. Like I said, it's in black and white with spot color. Should be coming out, I think, later this year. It's kind of been in the works for a little while, kind of on again, off again, and we were working on it in between Anansi Boys at Dark Horse. But now that that's wrapped up and not ever happening again, we're kind of focusing on The Heavy right now.
That's good.
Yeah, so I've got that going on. I've got another book I'm working on with Joe on the side in editorial.
Secret project.
Yeah. I almost let it slip, but I'm not going to.
There might be a trailer dropping in the near future about it.
There you go. So you
Oh,
can keep an eye
snap.
out for that. And aside from that, just a bunch of covers at Marvel, and hopefully I'll get to work with Daryl and Ray again, because
I would love that.
yeah,
You already know from working on Dynamic Duo
dude.
what I said.
Oh my God, you two did such a good job on that.
Oh
all
man,
day,
people are
man.
still talking about that book.
And then Vita wrote this great sound effect, like blow,
Yes.
BLAOW, with like I think Signal hit somebody or Batman hit somebody, like blow, and I was like,
Yep.
I hear that. It's like I hear
You're in
that.
it. Like you're in. I would say the most blessed thing, and I'm not even a religious guy, but I will use the word blessed. I went from Dynamic Duo to Shadow Cabinet.
Right.
Right? And you know, I mean, it's not. I don't know, Chris. You got more stuff to say? Because
No. You know what? Go ahead. I was just
No.
say I would work with you or Daryl all day, every day, and be very happy with my career.
Hey, because after that, it was like, hey, I want to work with Soto on every project at DC, and then boom, Shadow Cabinet happens. Guess who's here?
Bingo.
Right?
It was meant to be.
Yeah. Oh,
There he is. There's
my
the
boy. My boy.
Look,
Okay.
when this story dropped, I then had to go out and buy Base
My man.
because this was the pair I did not know I needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I don't want, New York Batman. I want the original. No, this now needs to be a friggin' thing.
100%.
This was a dope story.
100%.
Team Dynamic Duo agrees. Yep.
Yeah.
Me, Vito, Chris, and World, we all wanna be
Yep.
back. I'll be back at DC pretty soon because I got an email from DC today.
Nice.
Nice.
So can't talk about that, but DC seem to have adopted me. So basically, what I do is 80% my creator-owned work with my studio, my new little indie production company, publishing, and 20% freelance.
Okay.
And
Nice.
DC and Draper has decided to take all 20%.
Nice.
Listen,
Problem to
that's
have.
awesome.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
Hey, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm treated well. It's awesome. I'm here for it. But yeah. So something's coming up for that. I have so I did the production. My wife launched her book, WTF Mama.
Yep.
Right. It's a hilarious thing. It's kind of like 227 meets Boondocks meets it's ready for animated TV. You know what I mean? It's an animated sitcom ready for Netflix. As a matter of fact, I think I have a book, or our first book is somewhere up here. Yeah. So this is now on Kickstarter right now. Not this issue. We're doing a 80-page, 80+ now, compilation of the first 3 volumes plus 2 or 3 new stories, which goes and launches into later this year a full series. So we're doing that. My production company's doing it. As a matter of fact, Marquise is the line artist on that book going forward. Marquise Anthony Dennison, who's in the
Yeah. Marquise in all caps.
Yes, all caps Marquise. And then in end of March, we can't have let's see, what do I have? One second. There we go. So the new series,
Midnight Tiger.
Oh wow.
It starts in the end of March, and let's just say we are doing something that isn't seen in that feature a lot of POCs in a genre we don't see. So and Midnight Tiger is taking a different step, because he's already proven, because of Epiphany Engine and a bunch of other things that's happening, that he is one that travels the multiverse fairly frequently.
I like the sound of that.
I bought your first issue of Midnight Tiger. It seems like 10 years ago.
You're right. It was yes.
Wow.
And I think you bought it on Kickstarter, didn't you?
Yeah, I bought it 10 years ago. Yeah. So I've been rocking with you for a minute.
I appreciate it. And let me tell you, all the things that's gone on with the publisher that picked it up, we all know that story.
Yep.
And getting the rights back, and thanks to CEX Publishing, who helped me basically relaunch the series.
Yeah.
With what they're doing now. And now we're going into Midnight Tiger Evo, which is like I said, it's a soft reboot, but a continuation after the completion of the hardcover that just came out. And we're gonna just imagine a city that's completely closed off. It's one lone superhero who hasn't been a superhero very long, and he's up against every evil fantasy creature imaginable with an archdemon at the helm. So that's what the new series entails. Yeah. So he's gonna figure that out. So yeah, that's it. That's then later on, like my company's also doing, since Buck Rogers is now on the in the public domain, but specifically Armageddon 2419, not Buck Rogers himself, but the very first strip. We're doing our version called A Rise to Ruin in August, I want to say, which is a one shot. It's a different take on the Buck Rogers story.
Okay.
So those are the things we got going on.
You piqued my interest. Now you have my full attention.
Nice.
You're going to have to come back and talk about all of that when you're ready to promote it here.
You know what? If the blackcomiclords have me, I'm here for it. But
I like how you say "if." That's so cute. Listen, don't you have a project coming out with Brian Edward Hill? Am I wrong in that?
Do I?
Yeah.
I do. Well, wait a minute. I don't think so. If I do, they name me, and I let's just say I signed up for something. So I don't know.
Are you working on the DC Power Recharge book at all?
I can't confirm nor deny that.
Okay, so yes, he is.
Good answer.
Working with Brian Edward Hill. I will say this. I plan on bringing him back on because he's writing some stuff on that book. And when he comes on, if for some reason you are allowed to confirm and deny working on that book, you can come on too, so you guys can both talk about it.
We'll see. I might just be, a fan in the stands.
You might just
be
a fan in the stands. It just happens.
Oh my goodness.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Joe, Chris, you guys know this. I'm a fan of comics. I love comics to my core.
We all are.
We all are.
We all are.
I don't know, Paul. We'll have to see.
I don't want to get Marquise mad at me or something.
Joe, look. Yeah.
Joe, you had a hell of a last couple years.
Yeah.
You've done a couple things. You try to keep yourself a little busy.
Yeah.
I see, and have done some things that of note.
Yeah.
Would you care to talk about what you have upcoming, sir?
So I am finishing up the script for the Harriet Tubman middle grade graphic novel for HarperCollins. That's been a real joy and honor to work on. I've learned so much about Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
So that book will come out either in 2020. Right now it's reported for 2026, late 2026. The art will be by Marcus Kwame Anderson, who did the art for Big Jim and the White Boy, the graphic novel with David F. Walker, which is like getting all the awards and critical acclaim.
Right.
So he's going to be the artist. And in June, because it got pushed back, my new series that I'm co-writing with Tim Seeley that is going to be part of the Spawn universe called Bloodletter, with art by Christian Rosado and colors by DC Alonso. A few weeks ago, we put the issue where Bloodletter fights Spawn to bed. It's pretty mean. It's pretty mean. So I'm having a lot of fun working in the Todd universe. The secret project that Chris and I spoke about, I'm an editor on that. and I have some, like profit sharing, and that's going to be really cool. So like I said, a trailer for that may be dropped in the next few weeks. And I'm working on some different projects with some companies I can't talk about right now. I have 2 things going with Mad Cave. Hopefully they'll both get announced by the end of the year. Yeah, so a lot of good things are happening. And then you may have seen, I think it was on Tuesday, yesterday or the day before, was announced a Harlem Renaissance graphic novel called The Wren, which I co-wrote with Sean Marnborough, with art by Ricardo Colissimo. That's going to be coming out in 2027. Very excited about that. That has been a long time coming, but when it hits the world, it's going to hit the world like an atomic bomb. It's a beautiful, intriguing story, and at the core of it are 3 Black teenagers and a love story.
That's what's
and
up.
so I'm very happy about that. So, listen, I'm just going to be busy for the rest of my life. I'm going to be telling stories. I am truly motivated more than ever to tell stories. I feel like
we need it.
The stories are our revolutionary acts, right? And the same way that I feel like Shadow Cabinet in a way was a revolutionary act. And so that's a thing, right? So, and I'm not going to say I hope. I'm going to be working with all these gentlemen again in different combinations. That's just going to happen. Ray, you may get a call tomorrow. Don't be surprised. You may get a call tomorrow. So yeah.
I believe that.
So that's it, man. But it's just really a good time, and Shadow Cabinet was really an amazing experience.
Yes.
I didn't want it to end.
Me either.
None of us did, right? None of us did. Chris was like, "Oh man, I'm so sad," and we was like, "Yeah, none of us did." But listen, if you're gonna walk off a stage, that's the way you do it.
Yeah. You guys definitely did a mic drop on this final issue. So, hats off to all of you. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you. You are all encouraged to come back anytime you want. Just let us know when you've got a bunch of projects you all are working on. Let us know and we can help you promote it. Let people know about it. We want to get your pre-orders in. We're big on that. We talked about Mr. Producer. We had some stuff we wanted to put up here. Upcoming.
Oh,
beautiful.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Some screen artwork there.
Yeah, that's like some new Power Company stuff, I think.
Yeah, the second cover, I think that's from the recent DC Power.
I think so. The second cover is Sanford Green.
Yeah.
I don't know. I forget who the 4th cover is, but it was someone that surprised me because of the style. But those are all beautiful. Who?
Lisa Martinez?
I don't know.
The 3rd one, I believe.
The Vixen one, yeah, the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Well, this is the DC Power Recharged book coming out.
Yeah.
Brian Edward Hill is writing it. That's the one I thought Ray Anthony Height was doing some
Ray Anthony Height and his damn secrets.
He's got secrets within secrets. That's all right. That's all right.
I learned from Joe Illidge. The man was my editor for a long time.
I'm not trying to violate any NDAs. Anyway, that's coming up, and tomorrow night, from the distinguished competition, from the other side of the house, we're doing Stormwatch, our next episode, chronicling the journeys of Storm. And what are we up to? 5?
Yep.
5. I think it's 5. It's 5. So check us out. Big things. Storm's leveling up, and you get to find out what that means. It's a big thing. So thank you all for joining us. Again, if you're watching this, please hit the like button. We need those likes. Share this video over your social media so people can watch it later. Subscribe to the channel. If you're digging what you're seeing, subscribe to our channel. It costs you nothing. Lets you know when we're doing these shows in the future, and it helps us ride that algorithm wave so that we can continue to spread the message. So until next time, Black Comic Lords, we got you.